Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to WestCiv104 for the spring semester. Our class will be starting in a little over a week away, and I just thought I would introduce myself, mention a few things about the class as well, and later on this week and next week I'll be posting announcements, and I'll be sending messages to help clarify expectations in terms of what to do in this class and how to do the assignments, okay? First of all, the class is set up very consistently. I try to make it very concise. But just like all classes, if you've never had a class of mine, you don't know exactly what to expect, what we're going to do. So I want you to keep your eye out for the announcements and for the messages that I'm sending, and to look into those so that you can see that I'm giving you very relevant information for success in this class. There's many students tell me that when they first start taking my class, it seems a little overwhelming at first because they see that we have a lot of videos to watch and take notes on, and that we do like a one-page paper most weeks with discussions. But what they tell me is that as they figure out what the expectations are and they get into the routine, that it becomes much, much easier. And you will see that I really provide an outline for you to become successful. I've had many students that contacted me that just started being online because they had to due to the pandemic. So it's understandable. You're already just not comfortable with this because you never would have touched an online course until you had to. So I'm going to work with you, okay? So let's say that you even get some low points on some assignments, you're getting lost, you're getting confused. Just contact me, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again, especially this week. Everything that goes wrong can get resolved, especially if we resolve it quickly. And so even, the bottom line is I even let students fix assignments at times and get a better one. Now, this leads me to bring up something that's very important. I noticed this last semester. I had one student, he was doing the papers wrong. He was doing some of the things that I said that would get a 0 if you would do those. And then I wrote to him and I said, hey, great paper, you just need to add a few of these things, you get full points, just fix that. But he was doing all of his this class strictly through his phone. Now, for some reason, Canvas allows itself to be accessed through a lot of our phones, but it doesn't give you all the information that you would get if you use your laptop or desktop, which I find frustrating because a lot of times you don't know what the information is missing there. So you might be able to see that you got a grade on assignment if you use your phone, but you don't see that I wrote you comments to give you feedback. And announcements are often not mentioned, you don't notice on your phone. So what I'm trying to say is, use your phone if you want, but realize that it's limited in its means of communicating to you what's going on in this class. Do not strictly rely on the phone. And if you can't afford something else and that's all you're using, then contact me at the very least if you're seeing that your grade doesn't look the way it should. Proactively look for announcements. Excuse me, do something like that, because that's going to be a problem unless you understand that. Okay, so and so I just want to mention again that many of my students over the years have been currently in the military, are often maybe on reserve. I've had firemen and women, single moms, parents, both sides, some having 5 kids, working 2 jobs. a wide range of circumstances. And this has been a really rough year. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm aware of all these outside distractions, and I've provided means and ways for all of those students I mentioned to get the grade that they wanted, and many attained A's, okay? So I just want you to keep that in mind about how the academic success in this class is highly attainable. It just requires you to follow my direction, follow my lead, and communicate with me when there's any glitch, okay? And I need you to communicate with me sooner than later. All problems that you have are valid to me, and I will always give you the benefit of the doubt. You don't need to give me gory details. But you know, if somebody broke up with you and your heart broke, you're having a hard time concentrating. So I get it. All you need to tell me is you say, Mr. Pollock, I'm having a hard week. And if you have moments where you need to communicate that you're having a little struggle, we can work through some sort of arrangement to get you through that, okay? You don't have to prove by telling me all the details of what's happening. It's not that I'm not interested in your lives. I'm just saying that that's not what we need to do to move forward. Now, if you're having this every assignment, okay, then we have to start talking a little bit more. But we're talking about when this is the exception, not the rule, okay? And so, what are we going to be learning? We're going to be going over Western civilization, the origins and the development up into Reformation period. This is a very relevant class to understanding the background and the context in which the United States exists, okay? And so, just to make this clear, I teach World Civ as well, and I teach US. Whatever class I teach, I make the class centered on that topic. So this is a Western-centric class, only in the sense that we're specifically tackling understanding Western civilization. It is not about saying the West is the best, and I address that in there. I'm not saying it's the worst. I'm also address that. What I'm just saying is that, but this is the center of attention. We're talking about Western civilization. And if you go into my other classes, if it's US, I focus on US, like I said, and world, I focus on world. So, having said that, you know, all the statues that have been getting ripped down and all those kind of things that are a part of our cultural wars that we have here in the United States. I'm not going to be trying to bring our outside political drama into our classroom and shove a particular point of view down your throats. Of course, I have very strong views on everything. We all do, right? But what I want to do is put into context the history that helps us understand also like why this is happening here and in Europe. Because Europe is the source of where we're going to be talking about Western civilization and as it develops. But we're going to start with the Middle East and Africa as a foundation for Western civilization. This is the consensus view of understanding the origins of Western civilization. And that's the other point I want to make. I am giving consensus view understandings about how all these things developed. And you can see then that you can't just purely talk about Western civilization without talking about world civilization as well. And then what you're going to see, which I will address later on, is that the United States is a European project. This is something that I learned in grad school from one of my professors. That term never came to me. But yes, as much as we like to think of ourselves as purely independent, we fought King George and the British. Well, the British were us, by the way. We were British subjects. We were British subjects. That king was our king. We were subjects, we were a colonial project brought in, and that also other Europeans came to be a part of that colonial project, many from Germany. That's why so many of us have a German, white Americans have German backgrounds. Even many Black Americans, we're a very mixed society. No matter what you look like, what you pass as in public. The bottom line is that all of this stuff that we have going on here, we can look and see as the origins of Western civilization. And Western civilization has accomplished many great things that inspire people from around the world, and it's also been a very controversial legacy for other people in parts of the world. It's controversial in its legacy for natives here. It's controversial for, let's say, when the Dutch were in Indonesia and what they did there. And I can go on and on and on. We talk about Africa, Belgium, and the Congo. We're going to learn about this kind of stuff. It's going to be a very nuanced, broad class, giving you lots of perspectives, food for thought, and hopefully makes looking at the modern world a little bit more tangible and helpful in making more educated ideas about why the world is the way it is now. Okay, so having said that, it has been a very rough year, and people have a lot of different views about if the pandemic's even real. I mean, this is how divided and kind of just nutty and frustrating. I mean, Americans are living in two different realities often. What I want you to do is look at this as a safe space for you as Americans, or if you're coming from another country taking this class, this is a safe space for all of my students to engage intellectually with material, and hopefully as we move forward in this class and we go into the new year, things get a little bit better and saner. But I know history, and there's no guarantees. It can always get worse and it can always get better. And we will go with the hopefulness of it getting better right now, okay? So that's all I have to say, and as I mentioned, we'll be in touch. Have a happy and safe New Year.